Hi everybody, I'm Megan. I'm the dietitian at Corktown Health Center, and since the weather is starting to heat up, I'm going to teach you guys how to make your own healthier versions of popsicles. So this recipe is really easy. It only calls for 4 ingredients, and I bought my own popsicle molds. I got them for like $10 at Target, so you can find them cheaper, I'm sure, other places too. But what they are just molds of, the regular popsicles that you would see. So it comes like this, just a few different pieces, and when I make it, I'll just pour it into the molds and then freeze them. So it's really simple. And all you'll need is measuring cups and a blender of any kind works, or a food processor. So the little bit of a difference with this recipe is it calls for coconut milk, and instead of the typical milks that you would normally buy at the grocery store with like the milk alternatives that are in the fridge, or the kind that you would have probably had before, this is going to be canned coconut milk. So this is different because it's full fat. It's thicker than the regular drinkable version that you're probably used to seeing. So it's really important that you get this full fat canned version because it'll make a different consistency and the other kind won't work for your recipe. And again, like I said, you want to get the full fat. So some of the cans will say light coconut milk. You don't want those because it'll make your popsicles turn out differently. And it is also important to get unsweetened because you just want pure coconut milk and nothing else. And then I have maple syrup. So this is going to be the sweetener in this recipe besides the strawberries, which are naturally sweet. You can also use honey if you don't have maple syrup, but maple syrup I just like to use because it's really sweet for a less amount of other sugar. So where in a recipe you may use an entire cup of white sugar, you can use less and it'll taste just as sweet as the other sugar. And then my other ingredient is lime juice. This is an optional ingredient, so you don't have to add it if you don't want to. And I just happen to have lime juice around, but you can always use the juice from a whole lime and just juice it yourself. So I have my ingredients all measured out. So it's a 1.25 cups of coconut milk, 5 cups of strawberries, 3 tablespoons of lime juice, and 1/4 cup of the syrup. So all I'm going to do is add every ingredient into the blender, and then I'm going to blend them up until it's smooth. So everything is added into my blender. Before I blend it up, it is worth mentioning that I use frozen strawberries in this case. You can buy fresh and then freeze them yourself, or you can buy pre-frozen strawberries also. If you don't have a super high-powered blender like I have, you can always let the strawberries thaw until they're easier to blend up. So I'm going to blend all of my ingredients now until it's smooth. So while I'm blending, my blender's having a little bit of trouble completely blending it up. The strawberries are a little bit too frozen, so the blades are spinning, but it's not actually blending. In this case, I would let it sit for a little bit so that the strawberries can thaw more. You want to avoid adding more liquid to make it blend easier because that could change the consistency of your popsicles and they may be too liquid to freeze completely. So it's better to just let it sit and wait for them to thaw a little bit. You also may need to stir it around a couple of times to help it blend everything up. So once it's blended up, it's a smooth consistency, kind of like ice cream, as you can see. And next I'm going to just spoon them into the popsicle molds up until they have a fill line. So just the top of the container. And I'll do this for all 6. All right, now that they're all filled up to the line, I'm going to insert the tops. Depending on the type of mold that you buy, this could be a little different than yours. Some come with their own sticks. Some you may have to buy popsicle sticks and insert on your own. But these ones just clip right into the top. There are a lot of different varieties of these molds. I've even seen ones that make your popsicles into ring pops, which is pretty cool. So it can vary in not being exactly the same as this mold. So I'm just going to put the tops on each one of these. And then I'm going to stick it in the freezer for at least 8 hours. Freezer times can vary, so you'll have to check the consistency of yours when you pull it out of the freezer after 8 hours or more, just to make sure that it's actually really frozen. So I'm going to put these in the freezer for at least 8 hours now. So after it's been at least 8 hours, when you take them out of the freezer, you would just pull it up and it should look just like this. Hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching.